Hi, I'm Simon with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we're going to show you how to repair your appliance. Are you ready? Remember, anytime you work on your appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video, we'll show you how to replace the evaporator fan motor in a GE refrigerator. It's going to be a very easy repair, should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. For this job, we're going to need a 1/4 inch and a 5/16 inch nut drivers and a flat blade screwdriver. When you open up the package, you're going to get a new evaporator fan motor. This evaporator fan motor is located in the freezer section behind the evaporator cover. The evaporator fan motor blows air through the evaporator coils, circulating cold air throughout the entire refrigerator. If the temperature inside the refrigerator is way above normal and the freezer is not cold enough, check the fan motor and replace it if needed. To get to the part, we need to open the freezer door. Next, we're going to remove the freezer shelf by lifting up the front end and pulling it out. In our case, we don't have an ice maker, but if you do, you will have to remove it before we can proceed to the next step. Our next step would be removing this cover panel, which is held in place by a single 1/4 inch screw right in that opening. I'm using a 1/4 inch nut driver. I'm going to reach in and remove that screw. Next, I'm going to grab it at the bottom and push it up. As you can see, the top sides unlocks and we can remove it. Our next step would be taking out these two 1/4 inch screws. I'm using the same 1/4 inch nut driver. And we're going to remove them. And now we're going to remove the panel. And lift it off. And the right side forward. We're going to take it out. Now we're going to unplug this motor plug. Squeeze down on those two locking tabs and pull it apart. And at this point, if you're able to remove the fan blade of the motor shaft, you will skip one step in our disassembly. So let's try. Alright, I got it. So if you won't be able to take it off, you will have to remove these two 1/4 inch screws and take off the whole bracket from the wall. So I am able to skip it, but for your sake, we're gonna go again and I'll show you the case if you're not going to be able to remove this fan. So to remove the bracket, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to take out these two 1/4 inch screws using a 1/4 inch nut driver. And we're going to remove this bracket. As you can see, we have two holes here. We need to install our bracket when we're going to be ready for it into the upper hole. Please remember that. Alright, so let's do the disassembly right here. And hold the bracket, and using a flat blade screwdriver, I'm going to pry the fan blade off the shaft. This way we're not going to break it. Alright, so I'm going to put it aside. And as you can see, we need to take out these two screws. This is a 5/16 screws. I'm using a 5/16 nut driver. I'm going to lift off this top bracket, and then I'm going to lift off the motor from the bottom bracket. This is the old evaporator fan motor next to the new one. If you don't have this part, you can get it from AppliancePartsPros.com. Okay, that is a new motor. We're going to place it into the bottom grommet and the bracket, and I'm going to bring the upper bracket, slide it onto the shaft, Place it on. Next, we need to align the holes here and secure the brackets together with two 5/16" screws. I'm not tightening it yet. I'm going to place the second one. We can tighten this real good and go to the first one and tighten it. Our next step would be placing the blade on. About that far. And now we're going to install the assembly onto this rear panel. Again, I'm going to lift up the assembly, bring it up to this hole on the left, and then I'm going to use a 4" nut driver and a 4" screw, and I'm going to install it. I'm not going to tighten it real good, just a little bit, so the bracket still be movable. And then I'm going to, on the right side, I'm going to line up the bracket with the upper hole. Remember that? Upper hole, not the lower one. And I'm going to secure it with this second 4" screw. And I'm going to tighten it, and I'm going to tighten this one. And now I'm going to plug in the motor. I'm going to connect these two plugs. Make sure it locks. Now I'm going to install the cover panel back in. I'm sliding the left side first, angle the panel, place it in the spot, and lift it up on the top. I'm going to align the holes, and now we can secure the panel with a couple of 4" screws. Next, I'm going to install this cover panel. As you can see, we have tabs on the top here, on the left and on the right. And I'm going to place it into the cutout and push it down. Using a 4" nut driver, I'm going to secure this panel with the 4" screw. If your refrigerator had an ice maker, this is the time to install it back. Next, I would like to install the freezer shelf back in. I'm going to slide it and push it back. And now we can close the door. Plug the fridge back in and make sure it's cooling. Thank you for being a part of another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. For any of your future appliance repair projects, please check out our other videos available on our site, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram.